Hi there. Today we're embarking on a captivating journey as we step back in time to explore the legendary movies The Mummy. I'm sure many of you have fond memories of this classic show. The Mummy is a timeless gem that has left an indelible mark on television history. Join us as we relive the magic, revisiting the series with the entire cast, then and now. We'll uncover the original identities and ages of the talented actors from the show and witness how they've transformed in 2023. So, without further ado, let's dive into the world of The Mummy together. Number 1. Brendan Fraser as Rick O'Connell. Rick O'Connell, the guy who laughs in the face of danger and makes fear itself run for cover. Rain or shine, this adventurer is focused and fearless. But there's more to Rick than meets the eye. He's not just a thrill seeker, he's the kind of guy who craves the impossible. Determined to chase down whatever tickles his curiosity, Rick is like a magnet for adventure. And get this, if it leads him to death, well, that's just another part of the journey for him. Rick might have bitten off more than he can chew. You see, there are others out there hunting for the Book of the Dead, and they've got it out for Rick. Hanging by a thread? Oh, he's been there, done that, and escaped by the skin of his teeth. Rick O'Connell, where every adventure is a wild ride and every near-death experience is just another day at the office. Tall and athletic, with a boyish charm and keen comic sensibilities, actor Brendan Fraser moved easily between crowd-pleasing entertainments and critically acclaimed dramas. Fraser's versatility was first exploited in a pair of vastly different films concerning high school social life, the valley-centric teen comedy Encino Man, and the period melodrama School Ties. The actor followed with a slew of equally divergent projects like the baseball dramedy The Scout and the slapstick cartoon adaptation of George of the Jungle as he attempted to make the transition to major stardom. Equally adept at lowbrow comedy, thrilling adventure, or high drama, Fraser proved time and again why he was one of the most dependable leading men Hollywood had to offer. Fraser has maintained a lower profile in recent years, but is currently experiencing a new phase in his career, humorously referred to by fans as the Brenaissance. In 2023, Brendan Fraser has won the Best Actor Oscar for The Whale at the Academy Awards in Los Angeles. Fraser stars as a morbidly obese teacher in the film, which was directed by Darren Aronofsky and adapted by Samuel D. Hunter from his own play. Rick O'Connell was played by Brendan Fraser when he was 31 years old, and now he is 55 years old. Number 2. Rachel Weisz as Evelyn. Say hello to Evie, the brilliant, adventurous, and slightly clumsy dynamo. She's the kind of gal who could flawlessly translate an ancient text one moment, and the next, she's accidentally orchestrating an ancient text avalanche in the library. Classic Evie. While she's been neck-deep in academia for most of her life, don't let that fool you. This lady's got guts, quick wit, and a knack for thinking way outside the box. Evie's not just about dusty old books and ancient manuscripts. She's a brave soul, ready to dive headfirst into the unknown. So, if you're ever in need of a dose of brilliance, a sprinkle of adventure, and maybe a little clumsiness for good measure, Evie's your go-to gal. After starring in both The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, Weisz continued to act. Despite the film's financial success, later projects such as Beautiful Creatures, About a Boy, and The Shape of Things gave a clearer indication of her artistic leanings and fortified her growing critical reputation. Predictions of her bright future bore fruit when Weisz's stunning portrayal of an activist murdered under mysterious circumstances in the heart-rending drama The Constant Gardener won her Oscar, Golden Globe, and SAG Awards. She returned to screens the following year opposite Hugh Jackman in the metaphysical love story The Fountain, directed by then-husband Darren Aronofsky. Undeniably deserving of her status as one of film's more intriguing and versatile actors in projects as diverse as the brothers Bloom and the lovely Bones. Weisz continually defied expectations even as she exceeded them. Evelyn was played by Rachel Weisz when she was 29 years old, and now she is 53 years old. Number 3. John Hannah as Jonathan Carnahan. Jonathan, the unsung hero, played by the brilliant and forever underrated John Hannah in the Mummy trilogy, now available for your viewing pleasure on Peacock. Move over, Rick and Evie. This guy's here to steal the spotlight in his own charming way. Jonathan is no librarian like his sister, and he's definitely not the charming swashbuckler a la Rick. Oh no, he's something entirely different. Sure, he's not as much of a bumbler as Marcus Brody, but he's certainly no Rick, and he's light years away from an indie. Serious? Please, that's not Jonathan's style. He's all about the laughs and the promise of wealth, just like the more greedy characters in the movie. Although he had planned to be an electrician, Scottish star John Hannah fell into acting after a friend recommended he give it a go. Following a few lean years, the unconventionally handsome Hannah impressed with his turn as a sensitive gay man in the international smash 4 Weddings and a Funeral, 1994. Hannah reprised his role as Jonathan in both The Mummy Returns and The Mummy: Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. He has also appeared in numerous other films including I'm with Lucy, The Last Legion, Bone in the Throat, Genesis, and most recently, The Auschwitz Report. The actor has made notable appearances on several TV shows over the years. In 2002, he portrayed Robert Dalgetty on MDs and has guest starred on series such as Fraser, Poirot, Elementary, and Agents of SHIELD. Jonathan Carnahan was played by John Hannah when he was 37 years old, and now he is 61 years old. Number 4. Arnold Vosloo as Imhotep. Fast forward to the first Mummy movie, and guess who's back? You got it, Imhotep. But this time around, he's got a hankering for some human flesh and a not-so-friendly agenda to spread evil and corruption worldwide. World domination. Anyone. Imhotep isn't just your run-of-the-mill villain. He's got big dreams. Whether it's taking command of the army of Anubis, or, in the animated series, lusting after an ancient text of powers called the Scrolls of Thebes, this guy's ambition knows no bounds. Known for portraying villains and terrorists in numerous films and television series, and often confused with his North American counterpart, Billy Zane, South African-born actor Arnold Vosloo was an award-winning theater actor in his native country before gaining recognition in America. He participated in plays throughout the 80s before relocating to the United States in the early 90s to pursue a film career. His breakthrough role came in the 1993 action thriller Hard Target, directed by John Woo and starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Vosloo landed the role of Pick Van Cleer, a murderous thug, after Woo saw him perform in a short-lived stage production of Salome on a New York stage. For Vosloo, it was the start of a decades-long career as one of Hollywood's go-to bad guys, which he would perfect in such films as The Mummy and G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, as well as on the Fox action series 24. Imhotep was played by Arnold Vosloo when he was 37 years old, and now he is 61 years old. Number 5. Kevin J. O'Connor as Benny Gabor. This guy's got a laundry list of not-so-great qualities: arrogance, avarice, cowardice, and a penchant for lying. Loyalty? Well, that's a foreign concept to him. He's the kind of guy who'd throw his so-called friends under the bus just to save his own skin, a real class act. When it comes to alliances, Benny's loyalty is easily swayed by the promise of a bigger paycheck or the fear of a gruesome demise, especially if Imhotep's lurking around, keeping an eye on him. You could say Benny's the ultimate mercenary. As long as the price is right, he's in. O'Connor has kept up a steady string of TV roles in the years since The Mummy, appearing on shows like Law & Order: Criminal Intent, Chicago PD, The Blacklist, and On Becoming a God in Central Florida. The actor also played Lt. Colonel Korn on Hulu's Catch-22 adaptation in 2019. Benny Gabor was played by Kevin J. O'Connor when he was 36 years old, and now he is 60 years old. Number 6. Jonathan Hyde as Dr. Alan Chamberlin. Dr. Alan Chamberlin, a walking encyclopedia with a side of haughtiness. This guy's no stranger to Egyptology and a slew of other knowledge realms, thanks to his stint at the New York Metropolitan Museum. But here's the kicker. He's got a penchant for thinking his intellectual prowess puts him on a pedestal. A Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts graduate and longtime member of the Royal Shakespeare Company, Jonathan Hyde gradually became one of Britain's most respected stage thespians before switching his attention to Hollywood, appearing in a string of 1990s blockbusters, including Jumanji, Titanic, and The Mummy. After playing Egyptologist Dr. Alan Chamberlin in The Mummy, Hyde took a break from blockbusters in favor of smaller fare such as the biopic of seminal Russian director Eisenstein, the small-screen adaptation of The Prince and the Pauper, and Irish-American spy thriller The Tailor of Panama, 2001. Subsequently, he featured in the political satire Land of the Blind and the cat-and-mouse thriller The Contract. Hyde continued his television appearances with roles in Foyle's War and Endeavor before landing the part of Eldritch Palmer, the elderly billionaire relentless in his pursuit of immortality in Guillermo del Toro's vampire horror series, The Strain. Dr. Alan Chamberlin was played by Jonathan Hyde when she was 51 years old, and now she is 75 years old. Number 7. Oded Fehr as Ardeth Bey. Ardeth Bey, above all, was a Medjay, a warrior devoted to serving God and ensuring the safety of the world. Alongside fellow Medjay warriors, he faced the constant threat of the high priest Imhotep's return from the grave and sought to prevent his revenge upon the world. Ardeth maintained a calm and cool demeanor, sometimes bordering on brusque, driven by the urgency of his mission. Social niceties took a back seat to the imminent danger posed by the malevolent force his people endeavored to keep at bay. Tall, dark, and exotically handsome, actor Oded Fehr carved a niche for himself by portraying dashing heroes, mysterious saviors, and loyal soldiers. Born in Israel, Fehr initially captured the attention of moviegoers as the imposing Ardeth Bey, the guardian of the secret in The Mummy, a modern reimagining of the classic Universal horror film directed by Stephen Sommers. Following the global success of the film, Fehr continued to secure roles in projects such as the Rob Schneider comedy Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and its inevitable sequel, The Mummy Returns. Frequently likened to actors like Omar Sharif or Maximilian Schell, Fehr's inherent masculinity and natural charisma positioned him as a sought-after actor for roles involving international men of mystery. Ardeth Bey was played by Oded Fehr when he was 29 years old, and now he is 53 years old. Number 8. Eric Avery as Dr. Terence Bey. Dr. Terence Bey served as the curator of the Cairo Museum of Antiquities, exhibiting a keen sense of logic and order in every given situation. Committed to his role as a Medjay, Bey adeptly guarded the secrets associated with his position, skillfully covering up anything that might pose a threat. Despite being willing to take extreme measures, including resorting to violence, to safeguard his mission, Dr. Bey also possessed a compassionate side. A seasoned actor of Indian descent, Eric Avari excels in portraying characters of diverse nationalities. Born in Darjeeling, India, he hails from a family with a strong connection to the world of cinema, as his father operated 2 local movie theaters, and his great-grandfather played a pivotal role in the early days of Indian cinema. Avari's debut in the film industry was as a teenager in Satyajit Ray's movie Kanchenjunga. After relocating to the United States, he established himself as a talented theater actor and began securing minor roles in films during the 1980s, In the 90s, he became a familiar face on television, making regular appearances on shows like Star Trek, The Next Generation, and an episode of Seinfeld. Dr. Terrence Bay was played by Eric Avari when he was 47 years old, and now he is 71 years old. Number 9. Stephen Dunham as Mr. Henderson. Henderson, a bold and impulsive individual, stood out as the most composed within his group, even though occasional bursts of emotion were not uncommon. Despite his strong bravado, Henderson was susceptible to being unnerved, much like his companions in certain situations. Known for chewing tobacco and sharing a penchant for bourbon with his friend Daniels, Henderson was also a cigar smoker, occasionally blowing smoke rings. Stephen Dunham was an accomplished actor, noted for his comedic timing in his roles for television shows. Dunham started off his acting career mostly in film roles, appearing in Nothing Sacred, the Brendan Fraser box office smash action film The Mummy, and the Michael Douglas hit crime drama Traffic. His film career continued throughout the early 2000s in productions like the Leonardo DiCaprio blockbuster crime picture Catch Me If You Can and the Adam Sandler smash hit comedy Anger Management. He continued to work steadily in television throughout the early 2000s, appearing on The Chronicle, Presidio Med, and What I Like About You. Mr. Henderson was played by Stephen Dunham when he was 35 years old. Sadly, he suffered a heart attack and died on September 14, 2012, his 48th birthday, in Burbank, California. Number 10. Corey Johnson as Mr. Daniels was a stoic figure in comparison to his fellow Americans, often displaying impatience and curt manners. Despite his reserved demeanor, he possessed a dry sense of humor, occasionally cracking jokes. With a brash and competitive edge, Daniels was known for making wagers whenever the opportunity presented itself. However, he wasn't immune to fear, particularly when confronted with the traps and ancient mechanisms set by the ancient Egyptians. The looming threat of Imhotep, seeking to drain his life, also induced fear in Daniels like any other man. Johnson portrayed the smug business tycoon Henry Van Staten in Dalek, an episode of the 2005 revival of Doctor Who. His television appearances also include roles in Spooks, Foyle's War, Celeb, and Nash Bridges. In the film, United 93, he played the role of Louis Nack X, a passenger. Johnson made his Broadway debut in April 2007 as Nixon's chief of staff, Jack Brennan, in Frost. During his Broadway stint, he also filmed The Caller, featuring Elliot Gould and Frank Langella. In 2004, Johnson earned a Best Actor nomination at the British TMAs for his portrayal of Eddie Carbone in Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge. Additionally, he lent his voice to several video games, including Reign of Fire and Constantine. Until September 19, 2014, Johnson portrayed Mitch in Benedict Andrews' revival of Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire at the Young Vic Theatre in London, starring alongside Gillian Anderson and Ben Foster. His performance received praise for being lovely and measured, according to the Evening Standard's theater critic. In 2015, he played a helicopter pilot in the science fiction film Ex Machina, alongside Alicia Vikander, Domhnall Gleeson, and Oscar Isaac. Mr. Daniels was played by Corey Johnson when he was 38 years old, and now he is 62 years old. Number 11. Tuck Watkins as Mr. Burns meet Bernard Burns, the easygoing, perpetually cheerful optimist in the trio of American treasure hunters. Unlike his more reserved counterparts, Burns is anything but tight-lipped. He's all about keeping the vibe light, steering clear of unnecessary violence, and finding the humor in even the darkest situations. The loss of his eyes might have dimmed his physical sight, but it didn't touch his sense of humor. Bernard Burns, the guy who proves that a positive outlook can survive even the toughest challenges. A tall, dark-haired actor with chiseled features and an athletic build, Tuck Watkins made his breakthrough on ABC's One Life to Live and stood out as the rare soap opera hunk with a comic sensibility. Born in Kansas City, Kansas, and raised in Missouri, the actor moved to Los Angeles in 1989 to pursue an acting career. Commercial work sporadically followed, and before long he landed an early TV role as Sapphire, a male model who clashes with aspiring Chris Elliott on the zany sitcom Get a Life, essery violence, and finding the humor in even the darkest situations. Starting out as a mysterious manipulator posing as heir to the Lord Fortune, Vickers seemed the average soap villain. Soon he emerged as a humorous character whose desperate and often bumbling plots had him playing the fool. Watkins added a much-needed infusion of comedy to the often dour soap and proved a winning match for Robin Strasser, Dorian, and Krista Tesreau, Tina, both actresses able to similarly evince the funny side of the high drama. Mr. Burns was played by Tuck Watkins when he was 33 years old, and now he is 57 years old. Number 12. Omid Djalili as Warden Gad Hassan. Warden Hassan, a man whose faults extend beyond his character to his very appearance. Greed, superstition, and gullibility are just a few items on his long list of shortcomings. But if you think his character flaws are the limit, think again. Warden Hassan embodies poor hygiene with body odor, sporadic shaving resulting in a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, green teeth, and a generous helping of excess body fat. He's not just morally flawed, he's a visual feast of shortcomings. Mr. Henderson was played by Stephen Dunham when he was 35 years old. Sadly, he suffered a heart attack and died on September 14, 2012, his 48th birthday, in Burbank, California. Omid Djalili was an actor who had a successful Hollywood career. Djalili's early acting career consisted of roles in various films, such as the Brendan Fraser box office smash action movie The Mummy, 1999, the Pierce Brosnan hit action flick The World Is Not Enough, 1999, and the Russell Crowe box office smash action film Gladiator, 2000. He also appeared in the dramedy Mean Machine, 2002, with Vinnie Jones. Warden Gad Hassan was played by Omid Djalili when he was 34 years old, and now he is 58 years old. We reflect on the incredible journey of the Mummy cast from 1999. Witnessing their growth and transformations, it's evident that the bond forged during those years has left an enduring legacy. From thrilling highway pursuits to heartwarming moments, these actors brought the California Highway Patrol to life. Their stories continue to resonate with fans around the world. As we explore their then and now, we celebrate the enduring impact of the Mummy. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic trip down the California highways with the remarkable The Mummy cast of yesteryear.